Happy Halloween, everybody, and welcome back to Season 2 of my annual Halloween special. And for today, I'll be talking about Doctor Sleep. This has been one of my widely anticipated movies throughout the whole year. The fact that it was a sequel to The Shining. I haven't read the book, but I have read, some summaries online. But I read The Shining, and I love the Stanley Kubrick version of The Shining, and I haven't seen the miniseries, but I really love The Shining, and it's one of my favorite horror movies ever. Um, as for this film, I thought it was one of the best horror movies I've seen all year, if not the best horror movie I've seen all year. And it's definitely my favorite Stephen King adaptation that has come out this year because Pet Sematary, I thought, it could have been better, but it was okay. Chapter 2, I liked it, but not as enough as Chapter 1. Out of all the Stephen King adaptations that have come out this year, Doctor Sleep is easily the strongest one. So, this will be spoiler-free, of course, so I don't want to give away too much, so, yeah. So, many years have passed since Dan Torrance's experiences at the Overlook Hotel, and he's trying to, struggle with his past, mostly with alcoholism and everything. And then recently he gets in contact with a young girl who also possesses The Shining, and she's also targeted by a group of people who also want to gain immortality by feeding off of children who possess The Shining, so the two of them had to work together in order to stop them. This has been a really damn good movie, and Ewan McGregor as Dan, I thought, gave a really good performance, and Kylieigh Curran, I hope I said that right, I apologize if I said that wrong, as Abra, who is the girl, is phenomenal in this movie. So fucking phenomenal. And one of my favorite child performances throughout the whole year, if not my favorites. And I love that when it comes to Stephen King adaptations that have really good child actors, this is a definitely great child performance. We had great child performances in It, Chapter 1, and a few decent performances, if not one good child performance in the remake of Pet Sematary. I liked Danny Lloyd as the younger Dan in The Shining. I love, great child actors who are really great in Stephen King adaptations, and, if not films in general. That depends on how good they are in the movie. And in the case for Doctor Sleep, we get an amazing child performance. Rebecca Ferguson as Rose the Hat, really great, and one of my favorite Stephen King villains. If I had to make a list of my favorite Stephen King villains, I would say she would probably be at, possibly number 3, I would have to say. And she gives a really memorable performance, and her motivations are completely understandable, and you can understand that what her and her group has to do in order to survive, because they feed off of this energy, which they call the steam, from children who possess The Shining, and they mostly need it in order to survive, and also to gain immortality. But as for moments of fan service, there are moments of fan service throughout The Shining, but mostly in the third act when they go to the Overlook Hotel. We, of course, get, the Grady girls, we get the blood coming out of the elevator, we get the Gold Room bar, and everything about it. And a brief cameo from Jack Torrance. It's not by Jack Nicholson, which kind of disappointed me, because if it was Jack Nicholson, de-aged, I would have lost my damn mind, because, I was like, please be who I think it is, but, it was a different actor, so I couldn't really complain all that much, but, yeah, and the score by the Newton brothers I thought it was good, and they did. I mean, what and their version of the Shining theme, because they do capture that. And that theme alone is iconic for horror, even to this day. The original score I still love. Uh, as for other performances, I liked Carl Cumbly, I hope I said that right, as Dick Halloran. He pops up every once in a while throughout some of the movie, and mostly through the first act and like almost in the beginning of the second act of the film. And his performance was really good, and he gives a lot of advice to Dan, who is like, he mostly wants to like he wants to avoid like using his gift as much as possible, but he realized that he needs to use it in order to help this girl. And I love the chemistry between Ewan McGregor and Kylieigh Curran. I hope I said that right. I apologize if I haven't said that right. They have really good chemistry together and almost have like a daughter and father bond, and it works really well. And how everything plays out in the finale, I thought was really good. I don't really have much negatives. I would say there's only like one minor nitpick, and there was like I mentioned, it wasn't, I mean, who they got to play Jack Torrance wasn't Jack Nicholson. If it was Jack Nicholson de-aged, I thought I would have, I mean, honestly, I would have lost my damn mind. And I mean, I also, like I said, there were a lot of some moments of fan service throughout the third act. I almost forgot to mention Room 237. Because I mean, like I said, there are multiple references to like moments in The Shining. They don't over rely on like fan service too much, because if they do over rely on fan service, that could possibly be like a big risk for a movie such as this, because this is a sequel to The Shining, and a lot of people, because when it comes to like moments like these, I mean, when they over rely on fan service, that could possibly like ruin like most of the movie. But they don't over rely on that too much, which I can really respect. And because and they do well, they create almost shot for shot moments from The Shining. I mean, the moment the moment up the stairs with Jack and Wendy, and there's one small shot with the Grady girls and the hallway, and also Dan riding his little bike down the hallways of the Overlook Hotel. And there are moments where people can possibly be annoyed by that, and honestly, I never really was truly annoyed by moments of fan service, but I know that for some people that can mostly be an issue. And I also heard that some people complained that the film wasn't really all that scary. And I think that that moments of like scares throughout the movie were, I mean, they work really good, and there were moments where the movie can be disturbing as hell. Moments where Rose the Hat and her gang brutally killed this one boy who possesses the Shining, and they cut him open, and oh my god, I was like, holy shit. And it worked. I mean, the movie does have its disturbing moments, and there are moments where scares can work. I wouldn't say that there's a moment in the film where a scare doesn't work, but the movie is really good when it comes to scares, and great performances, great cinematography, and it is a worthy sequel, but not as perfect as The Shining. I will admit that it's not, because Stanley Kubrick's direction in The Shining was fucking amazing, and it will always remain one of my favorite horror movies, if not one of my favorite movies of all time. So I'm going to give Dr. Sleep an A. So yeah, definitely check this out if you are a fan of horror in general, or a Stephen King fan. It is really good, and this movie has not disappointed me at all, but I mean, it's not as perfect as The Shining. It's still a great horror movie, if not my favorite horror movie of this year. So what were your thoughts on Doctor Sleep? Let me know in the comment section below. I had a lot of fun watching this movie, and yeah, I was lucky enough to even get tickets for an early screening. So yeah, thank you so much as always for watching. I'm looking forward to continuing my last few episodes of my Halloween special, and I'm looking forward to doing new videos really soon. And if you want my thoughts on old or new movies, of course, you know where to find me.